Hey everybody, I just finished another book in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. This is number 3, Trapped in Batwing Hall. Let's take a look at this bat on the front cover. Pretty mediocre cover, nothing crazy. Before I get too far into this review, I just want to let you guys know that I have been sick, and if I start coughing or sneezing or anything, I promise you guys I'm okay, as far as I know. Thank God. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make it through this book review without making too many gross noises. But if I do, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna try to kind of run through this pretty quick, but while giving this book the attention that it deserves. And that's a lot because this book was incredible. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't think that I would like it that much, but towards the end, I was like, "Is this perfect?" But yeah, I'm already spoiling the star rating, so yeah, let's start. The story itself starts off with you at this new school, and you haven't made any friends yet. This kid walks up behind you, and he throws a rock, and it hits something beside you just to get your attention. He walks up to you. He introduces himself as Nick, and you guys hit it off pretty quick. He talks about like comic books and movies and different things like that, and it turns out that he likes horror stuff, and you like horror stuff. He invites you to this place called Batwing Hall, where him and a group of friends gather around and they tell spooky stories. You think this is great, you're finally making friends, so you decide to go. You do have a choice of not going, but it still leads you to go anyway. So anyway, you go to this Batwing Hall, and you're kind of startled because there's a lot more people than you thought were going to be here. And there's a group of two friends. There's two groups of friends, sorry. But yeah, and this is where you basically get your first choice. You either get to be with the red team or the blue team. And the blue team is the one that I chose because at the beginning of this book, or when you introduced everybody, you meet these girls, or you meet two girls. One's named Marcy, who's really, really mean, and Laura, who is more welcoming and smiles at you and stuff like that. So you go. I chose that team. They got those two, and then there's a guy named Connor, I think. In this storyline, you basically have this thing called the hunt, where you guys have to find the scariest thing, like close to you or outside or whatever. And you guys go out, but they say since you're the new kid, you have to actually go to the Crumpnick Crypt. And Batwing Hall was owned by this guy named Professor Crumpnick, who passed away or whatever. You guys go to the cemetery, and you think, well, I can find all kind of scary stuff in the cemetery. You end up finding the crypt, and you walk inside, and there's this inscription on top of the crypt that says something about turning into a bat. You get out of there, and your friends are gone, and I guess they left you. You go home, and you lay down or whatever, and I think you can either choose to not lay down, or not go to bed or go home or whatever. But either way, you get turned into a bat. And it's the typical Goosebumps stuff where you wake up, everything's bigger than what you thought. Sorry. And everything is bigger than what you thought. Like, everything's, all disoriented, different things like that. Nothing we haven't seen before in Goosebumps. But I still have a lot of fun with stuff like this. You basically get turned into a bat, and you get to fly around and find all of your friends and try to figure out how to get turned back into a human. Two of my favorite endings is in this storyline. And they both have to deal with a scenario where you go under the crypt, where you basically end up in this swamp, and you run into... I'm going to give you kind of a hint of one of the endings, and it involves a monster library, and the other ending involves like a Grim Reaper taking you on a boat ride, and that's all I'm going to say. This storyline was great. I had a lot of fun with it. I loved going to different houses and trying to figure out, or trying to talk, like you get to go to these people's different houses, like your friends, and try to get them to talk to you. Marcy is absolutely terrible. I do not like her. And there's only one correct person to go to in this storyline, which I think one technically leads you just to another one. So you can go that way, so that's so that's pretty cool. Yeah, but that's basically the Bat storyline. You get to use sonar, you eat a moth. There's some endings where you get turned into, or you get trapped in the refrigerator. You know, some pretty scary stuff. You know, nothing crazy, but really, really fun storyline. I had a blast with this one. I've always been a big fan of like Why I'm Afraid of Bees and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think the Goosebumps books where you get turned into an animal are bad. I think they're really fun, and they can work when they're the right animal. Not chicken. Yeah. And the other storyline is, I think, everybody's like favorite storyline except me for some reason. I really enjoyed the Bat one, but I did enjoy this storyline too. The other storyline, you get to join the red team with, I'm trying to think of who their names are. You get Debbie, Nick, and there's one more. Debbie, Nick, and I think Martin. That's it. And you find out that they're monsters. That's basically it. And they want to turn you into a monster. And they challenge you to this thing where you have to find these ridiculous items on this scavenger hunt. And some of these items are a bone from a human hand, a werewolf hair, like there's 3 werewolf hairs, a witch's broom, and bandages from a mummy. And this storyline's really, really fun too. It's really incredible. Some decent scary stuff. The werewolf kind of got knocked down a little bit being scary because he wasn't really that scary. The witch, there is a good scene where this witch is like inside this box. I think if I'd have read that as a kid and I seen I would have thought about that. I would have pictured it a lot different and kind of scared myself. The mummy storyline was pretty cool. Not the storyline, but how to get the mummy's bandages was pretty cool. And each monster you actually interact with a pretty good bit. The one that stands out a lot really is the human hand. Basically, you actually, I'll give you a hint on that too. There's a scene where you actually have to pull the finger from the hand off of something. And one thing that I really enjoy too is there's an armless thing in one of the endings. And I thought that was really great. Everything ties together. There's a reason why these kids got turned into monsters, and there's a reason why you got turned into a bat. And there's like an answer for everything. And I really enjoyed that. I thought the bat stuff was good. I thought the monster storyline was really great. Yeah, Trapped in Batwing Hall is definitely a recommendation for me. I may be overhyping it slightly, but I don't think so. I mean, for you, if you guys read this and you're like, oh, this is okay. Yeah, but I enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite Give Yourself Goosebumps so far. And I literally gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. There's really nothing to complain about. If I had to complain about anything, it'd be like maybe some of the endings were not amazing, but like they all made sense and they were still very, and when I say like not amazing, it was like there's in the monster storyline, most of the storylines you get turned into a monster, and that's still really good. I mean, there's nothing bad about that. So yeah, Trapped in Batwing Hall gets a 5 out of 5 stars from you guys, and I cannot believe I made that without coughing that many times. How many times was that? Like 3? But yeah, Trapped in Batwing Hall. I highly recommend this book if you guys haven't read it yet. But yeah, please let me know what you guys thought about this book in the comments below. Thank you, and bye-bye.